Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It is Pinky here today with a new video, and this is for Lisa Eldridge, and it's for the liquid silk eyeshadows. Yes, so I'm not wearing a lot of makeup, you will see. I'm basically kind of going barefaced except for some foundation and lipstick because yeah, I'm trying out a bunch of new products, videoing a lot of things today, and so boo, it's the Halloween season and I am so fair. I am so fair. My features just disappear, so you're welcome. Everybody's like, I know, I used to be made fun of horribly for how pale I was back in the day. Gotta love children. So there you are. So this is what it looks like, of course, in the normal Lisa Eldridge packaging. So I'll put to the side how much I paid. I know it's different in USD versus the pound, and so I looked it up last night. It was the pound. Here's what it is. Here's what it is for the UK and for USD. There you go. A little bit spendy, especially considering you're getting about this much product. There's also claims that what it does is it has a specific tree bark, from my understanding, which I'll put to the side, which it's too early in the morning here. It is like 8 a.m. On the weekend, I never get up before 11. I'm a night owl, killing me. So here it is to the side. And it talks about how, or Lisa Eldridge talks about in her video, how it basically is supposed to smooth the lid and like a baby's ass. There you go. Which it is not. You know, this is, your eyelids are not going to be that of a 5-year-old by using this. And that's not what she claimed. But it's saying that it's supposed to really smooth them out and make it kind of a wonderful blank slate to work off of. Now, the reason why I'm doing a review this late is I wanted to try this for a couple weeks to see how I felt about it and about these claims. I don't just rush to put things up because I feel like you're not really using the product, and then a lot of people end up disappointed, but understand what works for me may not work for you because we have different skin types, chemistry, and it does make a huge difference. So I do have oily eyes by nature. I have a very oily skin type and rosacea sensitive. So I will say it did not affect me as far as sensitivity. I had no allergic reactions to it. I rarely have allergic reactions to things. There's not much I'm allergic to. And I do have sensitive skin, but I don't find that most makeup really affects that. It tends to be more what I eat because it's rosacea and things like that, or drinking or whatever, things like that, the good stuff. Spicy food, I love spicy food, but it doesn't number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on and show you how it works, because basically, here we go. And I'm going to show you a couple ways that I use it. But what I did find with this is that it's very easy to put too much on your eye. And if you do, it's going to go everywhere, because the first couple times I used it, I put it on and I tried to rub it up and it dropped all the way down here. The nice thing is that it doesn't set immediately, so I was able to wipe it away. So that was really, really helpful. Now, I will say that I don't necessarily love wearing these on their own. I don't. But we will get to that. So let me just try this if you're here to see what it looks like, and then we'll talk. So be very careful, because this is the applicator, and it could be very difficult to use. So what I did is, you can just really go in light. It doesn't set too quickly. Actually, it's very forgiving. And I used my finger. You can of course use a brush, but you're going to waste a lot of product if you don't go in, like, make sure the wand doesn't have a lot of product on it. But I've kind of learned how to do this. Now, you can use a brush, of course. I tend to be like into finger painting. And there you go. Do you see how there's that beautiful wash of color, and you can do what you need to make it go in, and you can see between both eyes how it worked. Really easy application. It's just very difficult to get too much on there, and the problem is you're wasting product. So what I do like about it is it's pretty easy to get off, and then work it in. And you have, like, some products will lock really quickly and you're like, oh no, you know, I can't make this move. You have a while to make this work, and even still it can move really easily. So there we go. That's just using my finger and blending it in, and you can see it definitely has a beautiful wash of color. So let's talk about it. I did not use any primer. I usually use a primer. I did use this product with the primer and not a primer. Both ways, there was no creasing for me. With the primer, without. What I will say is that I did use this as, I did end up using this a couple ways. Like I said, without a base, with a base. To me, with oily eyes, it worked the same. It was really good at keeping the oil at bay. I also used it as a base and then putting more makeup on top of it. In fact, my favorite way to use it, let's just look at this one more time before I mess with it. You see how it just goes in so beautifully? It does. It really lays quite nicely. It's one of those things I've been using, like if I need to go grab coffee quickly and I won't go out of the house without some makeup on. Oh no. So again, so fair, it scares people. That I will do this, and then you know all those single shadows that you have all over your apartment that you're like, I'm never going to use these. Yeah, you are, because this works really well, especially right now. It's dry. It dries really quickly, but if you move quickly, which I did not, you can throw a shadow on top of it and it just adds a pop. So this is how I've been using it. So this is the new Moondust from Urban Decay. So what I've been doing is taking shadows like this. Which one do I want today? I did this one yesterday, but I have a lot going on. You know what? Let's go with the more sparkly. I think this one is definitely the more sparkly of them. And you can like throw it on top and it just adds this beautiful, it's a beautiful base color. That's what I use it for mostly, is then I can do this and it's absolutely beautiful. It just pops right onto the eye. And it actually sticks well, but that's part of the Urban Decay formula, because once it's on, it becomes very dry, but not drying your eye out. So I think that's the big difference. Is for me, that I have oily skin, it didn't dry out my skin at all. But what was nice about it was that it did make it a very nice baseline. You just got to let it set for about a minute and then you can work from there. And so how I did use this was I would then just go in with another eyeshadow and play, you know, and then build up. Obviously that's not going to work if you're using a cool tone palette, as this is more of a warm tone palette. So there you go. So very simple. So I basically, if you have this palette, I used the sparkly one that's more of a clear base with the sparkle, and then this on the outer corner just to add just a tad bit of dimension. But this isn't like an amazing look that's making anybody go wow. You know, that's not the point. This is a one and done, which I absolutely adore using this liquid silk. And boom, I'm back. Yeah, I put on some eyeliner and some mascara, and here I am. You know, it's a one and done eye look that I really like. Now, of course, you can use the liquid silk on its own. You don't need to use it with an eyeshadow on top of it, but for me, I would personally never really use a base like that without something on top of it. To me, it's a little bit, okay. So here, let's talk about the product. So as far as the range, it is very limited. From my understanding, there's 5 different colors. Only one cool tone was released, and it sold out like that. I'm a cool tone girl living in a warm tone world, and I actually leaned more towards neutral so I can wear warm tones and cool tones. I used to only wear cool tones until probably like 4 years ago, when you couldn't, maybe even more than that, when you couldn't even buy any cool tones. And it's still kind of happening today. If you are warm tone, you will love these, because there's only one cool tone shade and it sold out like that. So that's the one I wanted, didn't get it. So it's still sold out. It's a little disappointing just because the range doesn't diverse. I did use this to see how it would work because there was the claim that basically it would get rid of the creases and smooth out the eyes. Now I do have some creasing. I've always had, not creasing, but texture on my eye. I've had that ever since I was younger. It's my genetic dynasty or destiny, and I've accepted that. So I've always had, not crepey, but I do have lines on my eyelids. I always have. My mom has. That's where I got it from. Generations. So fine with that. I also have some problems with this eye, which when I was a kid, I was a huge tomboy. I mean, I was like, did nothing feminine at all. And so yeah, I don't like saying that. That was deemed feminine at the time. Everything is feminine. Everything is masculine. Just have a good time. But society doesn't always like to play that way. So when I was younger, I did things that were very deemed boyish, and I was into climbing trees, building forts, riding bikes, sports, and I ended up getting this eye cut. So this will drop lower, like it cut all the way through the eye and caused some problems, cut it open. Never got it stitched. I probably should have, so it didn't really heal right. Maybe one day I will get it fixed because it's one of the things I don't love, but it is what it is. You know, it adds character. So I put it up high because it's claiming that it tightens and removes creases. Now, it didn't say that it gets rid of old battle scars or battle wounds, but even with this eye that has no damage, it really didn't do anything. I'm going to say that. The claims are a lot. It did not get rid of any creasing. I don't think there's any scientific journals being written that this product does that. It's a wonderful claim. Maybe it'll work for you. It did not for me. It did not in any way work. Sometimes if you put too much of an eyeshadow on that has a lot of sparkle, it can get in those creases or things, especially if you have drier eyes or mature eyes. You have to be careful with that. I don't have too much problem with that. A little bit with the inner corner here where there was damage, but honestly, it didn't really fix that. Not too much. Now, I will say that it did help a little. And the reason why it did help a little was because it's a great base shadow. So even if you use like a base, whatever it is, MAC pot or whatever, and you use that before you put it on your eyeshadow, it's probably going to help you a little bit with, if it's a good one that works for your skin, making things look a little bit more smooth. That's kind of the purpose. It's like foundation. It smooths out your skin. So it's a big claim. And I did notice that it definitely was smoother to work on with eyeshadow. But I don't know if the claims are, I'm not quite buying it. But that's just me. It may work differently for you. So that is the nice thing about these, is that they do create a smooth base. You basically have a minute to get this into place. And once it is into place, it's locked in, which is really nice. I do find them to be extremely workable. You can use a brush. I like using my fingertip better. They blend beautifully. It doesn't leave a harsh line because you haven't blended it well. Nah, it blends beautifully. You can see it just goes in naturally. I love that about it. Very easy to work. Beautiful. So no problems with that. And then once it's in, it locks. I have oily lids. They're locked for the day without using a base. Sometimes I would use a base anyway when I was using other shadow, because I just prefer to do that. Because with this on, it didn't necessarily help the shadow stay on longer, and I have a problem because I have oily eyes. What happens is the oil breaks through, and then it just looks like a satin mess. It's not a mess. It makes the mattes look satin. That's the way it works. I don't get creasing, none of that. So it does work beautifully as far as that goes. As you can see, I love the one and done. I love the one and done eye look. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. I've been definitely using it for that, and I will, because I think it's just so helpful in that way. Like, you could just do this, put on sparklies like I did with the Moondust, and you could just even put on mascara and you're done. That's it. That's it. Which I've been loving, because sometimes I just don't want to do that. I want to go grab coffee. It takes me 5 minutes to do a makeup look. I'm out the door. It's perfect. So yes, I give it high praise in that way. It does the makeup aspect beautifully. It really does. Very easy to work with. What I don't feel the claims for what it does with smoothing is necessarily, I didn't have that experience. Maybe others do. If you do, please let me know below, and let me know your skin type and if it's dry, oily. I'm curious to see what type of skin type you have, because it didn't do the magic for me. Also, I feel like the range is extremely limited. I think this would have done better if there had been more sparkly shades. If you did something that's a little bit more fun. Most people aren't going to be really excited over this. They're just not. This isn't exciting. I don't regret buying it, and I will use this, but would I repurchase any of the other colors? I would not. I would not. Unless she came out with something more sparkly and interesting. This isn't pushing the boundaries in the makeup industry. It's not. It's beautiful. It is exactly what some people will love. If you love an everyday easy look, this is for you, especially if you have a bunch of shades, individual shades from different companies, sparkly shades, and you're like, oh, how am I going to use these? This is how you can use them, and that's how I will use it. It's a beautiful base for those sparkly shades that don't have any color underneath them. It's just a clear base, and so it's going to get a lot with this. It's just beautiful, and I found the perfect combination. I have a lot of Korean brands that are just sparkly without a lot of color, so again, it's going to work really well. So limited range, only one cool tone, and the pricing is really expensive for what it is. And the thing is, I think part of it is because if you're using a product that totes a certain thing that it will do for you, for your eyelids, but it doesn't work for the majority of people, if that's the case, it shouldn't be that expensive for something that isn't doing what it claims, in my opinion. But I love Lisa Eldridge. I love her makeup products. I always buy them. I just think she's a wonderful human being. But I feel like this product is very hit and miss in certain ways. I love it. Again, I love this. I think it's so easy to use, adore it. But unless something more interesting came out in the line with sparkles and something special, I probably wouldn't pick up the rest of the line. So one was enough for me. One was enough. There you go. So let me know what you think below. I know this was a longer video breaking down something I could have done in 5 minutes, but I just don't. I wanted to get it all out there. I think it's important that you know what you're buying, especially if you're spending that much money. It's a luxury brand. But let me know what you think down below if you have this, or what your thoughts are on about it, because I'm kind of curious how others feel about it. And with that, have a fabulous day, my friends. Bye.